Are you sick of waking up with anxiety and regret after drinking? I get it. I was a weekend binge drinker, fooling myself into believing I was detoxing all week, only to retox every weekend and live completely outside of alignment with my values. As a former personal trainer who cared about health, that disconnect pushed me to finally make a change. I'm Maureen Bankovich, and this is Sober Fit Life, a podcast where we get real about alcohol, share powerful stories, and learn from wellness experts so you can thrive physically, mentally, and emotionally. Let's get sober fit. Have you ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? soberfitchick.com/MI. We all know gut health is the key to feeling our best, but what about when it comes to alcohol? Even in the wellness world, it is the elephant in the room. And in the personal training world, I know that too. My client and friend, Carrie Chojnowski, a holistic gut practitioner and certified health coach, is here to have an honest conversation about the impact of alcohol on our bodies, especially for women in midlife. After her own health struggles, she discovered the life-changing power of gut health. And today she's sharing the real truth about balance, healing, and reclaiming your vitality. So welcome, Carrie. That was a mouthful, but there's so much to share about you and how we met that I just wanted to try to get it all in there. But I'm so glad you're here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share my experience and just, whatever you want. I'm an open book today. So
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I think we met at Dr. Kinney's office, who has
Yes.
this sort of naturopathic meetup of all kinds of coaches and health-related practitioners, and that's where we first met.
Yep.
Yep. And I was then running one of my 6-week alcohol reset groups, and I actually ran into you at our church after a Bible study. I'm like, "Hey, do you want to do my reset?" And you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I actually, I think we were at a couple of the events together, and every time you spoke, there was always this voice in the back of my mind, in my head, in my heart. I truly think that was God speaking to me many times, basically saying, like, if you cut back on alcohol, or if you give this to me, this elephant in your room, things you can't imagine what I will do with your life, kind of thing. Right. But so anyway, we'll get into that. But you would come and speak at these holistic practitioner group things. And I was like, that's interesting. But when you shared about that group, I was like, yeah, maybe that's something I might want to do. But do I really want to do that? So when I think I scheduled a call with you, maybe a discovery call.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I was like, approaching it in a mindset of like, I'll help her with her content. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be a coach who can help her refine what she's doing. And maybe I'll learn something in the process. I figured I'd learn, but I didn't realize how much I'd learn.
Yeah, I should clarify that. I don't randomly walk up to people and ask them to do my alcohol resets. We had some contact, and I knew there was interest. And what typically happens is, even when people are interested, they're like, "Ooh, but wait a minute, I have a wedding and it's Christmas," and that's kind of what you were.
That's feeling. What I said. Yeah, I had a wedding, so it started October 3rd or something, or 6th, and I had a wedding. My nephew was getting married. Of all things, my nephew, my whole family was going to be there. October 18th, I think, was the weekend. We were going to Cape Cod, which is where we vacation every summer. So in my mind, that all that is associated with alcohol and kind of letting loose. And so I was like, well, I'll do it, but maybe that weekend I'll just not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
because you had like 4 weeks leading up to it. I was like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, let's do that. Let's, see what you can feel and learn and change and grow." And, so you joined,
I
and
joined.
it was a small group, and that was great because there
Yeah.
was a lot of good conversation. There were some other health practitioners in there too, different
Yeah.
kind of coaches and practitioners. And, what would you say, was the turning point for you? Like, what happened when you went to that wedding?
Well, first thing, like you said, it was a small group and
Mhm.
it was other health practitioners who were ambitious women who were kind of just like me. And I think that was one of the biggest things was that I was like, "Oh, I'm not the only one struggling with this."
Right.
Like, and this was something that was kind of sitting in, like I said, this little voice in my mind, but also, you know, a lot of my family members have gone through different what do you call them, approaches, I would
Mhm.
say, to not drinking,
Right.
or sobriety, I guess. And I never saw myself in alignment with any of those things. I never thought I really had a problem, right?
Right.
It was just like, well, maybe when I was younger I did,
Mhm.
but like I'm older now, I can control all that. Which I was doing a really good job, not getting blackout drunk, but
Yeah.
like it didn't mean it wasn't affecting me, right? So, but I think the biggest thing with the question you asked, as far as like what was the turning point for me to actually be able to make it through the whole
Mhm.
wedding weekend not drinking, was um well, first we did our why,
Mhm. What's your
like you had
why?
us kind of dig deeper and kind of go to the multi-layered, like, why do you want to do this, right? Why is
Yeah,
that
I
what?
have people dig a little deeper because the surface ones are like, "I don't wanna be hungover, I don't wanna have brain fog," and we do an exercise that's like 5 layers deep to
Mhm.
get you to, "Well, what does that mean? Why is that important?"
Right, so mine was to have more energy and clarity,
Mhm.
and ultimately what I came down to was that I wanted, and, I dug deep, and it was like my
Mhm.
next part was, like, to be more connected with my family during the day and in the evening, and then I wanted to be closer to my kids, and I realized that alcohol was getting in the way of that, and then my final, like, level 5 was to be exactly what they need for me to be for them, and I know that, like,
That is a
it kinda
deep well, that's much deeper than clarity and energy,
I
right? But
want more
that's what you
energy.
got from that, right? You went all the way to, "Wow, I wanna be really more present with my kids and my family."
Yeah, yeah, and over the few weeks leading up to the wedding, I came to the realization, without alcohol for that long, which doesn't even seem like that long because it was like
Mhm.
3 weeks, but, most of us who are pretty regular drinkers will, like, go through the week, even if you go through the week without a drink. And
Yeah.
now I've learned in your group that even without the 4 days of drinking or whatever, and even if you just have a couple drinks on Friday or Saturday, that still stays with you. The residual effects of that stays with you till the next time you drink 4 days
Yes.
later. So, like, I didn't realize how much it was actually affecting me, and I wasn't what I really came to the conclusion in those 3 weeks was that I would have my glass of wine while I was cooking dinner, and by the time I was done that glass of wine, I was in my little bubble
Mhm.
by
Well,
myself.
right.
And I wanted to stay in my little bubble, like my calm little bubble. So by the time dinner was ready and everybody came to me to sit and actually connect, I was kind of tired
You were
and
disconnected.
I was disconnected. And
Mhm.
so I was kind of exacerbating my disconnection with my family by having a glass of wine at
Yeah,
night.
that's such a huge realization because a lot of people think, "I'm gonna drink to connect,"
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
actually realize with your family, it was actually disconnecting,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
very
And
opposite.
I didn't think that was happening at
Yeah.
all. I actually would try over dinner to connect, but because alcohol was hitting me in such a different way than it had when I was younger,
Mhm.
I wasn't, I guess, the most pleasant person. I don't, I didn't realize I was just a little less, I was edgy. I was more edgy at dinner. My son even made a comment, like when I was, I think, 6 weeks, or maybe 2 months, I hadn't had a drink. And I
Yeah.
said, I haven't had a drink for 2 months. Do you notice? And he said, "Yeah, you're not so," and he, like, pointed his little finger. I was like, "Like scolding." And I was like, "Oh my God,
That was
like,
sort of a revelation to you, wasn't it?
what? Like, seriously? And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. I said, was I that bad? He goes, no, it's just, you could tell. Like, he said, I guess I didn't even think it was related. He thought I was just cranky. He
Yeah.
just thought it was I was just a cranky mom. And he wasn't even equating it, wasn't pairing it with the alcohol
Yeah.
until the alcohol was gone.
Yeah, I just wanna go back to a couple of important points that you said. So, first of all, just being willing and open to take a look inside and take a break from alcohol. And the reason we do that is so that your central nervous system, your body can experience a time period without alcohol, and then these changes start to emerge, like
Right.
being less irritable, less
Mhm.
anxious. And so it's not about like white knuckling it through. It's about learning along the way other ways to downregulate your central nervous system. Like you were saying, you had the wine at dinner. That would be had became sort of your habit, your transition from workday to evening, how you were calming down and de-stressing, but it was
Right.
having other unintended results.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And the other important thing you said too was, you had felt you had come to a point where you were controlling your drinking because you weren't blacking out like you used to when you were younger. And this is such a common belief that holds people back from reevaluating their relationship with alcohol because they're like, well, at least I'm not doing that, you know, and I'm high functioning. I have a business. I'm a mom. I do all these things. So society says you're drinking like everybody else. Why take a look at it? But you knew for you, and you said you heard, you know, you really felt that God was like kind of pushing you to like, hey, I got so much more for you, but this substance is holding you back. So I just want to, I guess, compliment you on how you listened to all of that and you were
Yeah.
willing to try something new. And there was actually one more piece that you listened to, and you said it was fine if I shared this, that you had been in therapy for a
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
worked on a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think right before we started working together, and maybe this is what also motivated you to set up a call with me, it was your therapist said, you know, you've done all this work, you're doing great. There's one more thing. You just really just need to get rid of alcohol.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, his biggest thing was, we have a very strong family history
Yeah.
of alcohol use. I mean, I grew up in a northern Maine town. It's what you did. Like literally that's how we stayed
Mhm.
warm, and that's generational. I mean,
Yeah.
passed down by generation. And I don't fault my parents for that, but that's
No.
how they grew up and that's how I grew up, and we really all my siblings for the most part and I, we that's how we coped, and was it has caused problems in
Mhm.
a lot of people's lives,
Yeah.
of my in my relatives lives, and so that was the one thing my counselor, who was working with my husband and I for 3 years, he's like, you guys have seriously come so far, and he said there, kind of bluntly, where I was like, there's no place in your life for alcohol.
Mhm.
You're a health coach. It's not in alignment with anything that you do, anything that you preach, anything that you coach. And it's really not serving you. And what he wasn't saying it because it was like my husband or anything was like, this is a problem,
Yeah.
because it had really significantly improved. Like
Yes.
I had already reined it in, like on my own,
Mhm.
a lot. And but I just couldn't like cut it off, kind of thing. It was still something I went to many nights and I would fall into, particularly like the change of seasons. It was
Yes.
like I don't know, it's like, the holidays, and then you got when you go back to school, and then you're like, like it's just one of those things I just kept going back to.
Yeah.
And we go, like I said, to Cape Cod every August, and this past August was like, even it was something I had actually talked to like my friend, and we stay on the same street every year, and my friend Laura, who I talk to every year, she had kind of seen alcohol be an issue with my
Mhm.
husband and I in arguments and stuff. And when we left this year, she was like, "Wow, you guys are doing so great! Like you're so happy. You look so happy. You look, and I think because I didn't really drink on that vacation
Yeah.
much.
You
I
were
mean,
already starting to really change and remove it. And it's that last piece that's so important because understanding that, first of all those things you just listed are, you know, familial
Mhm.
triggers, nostalgia, the way it was
Yes.
modeled, the way you grew up, holidays, tradition, all that stuff, it is hardwired and etched into your brain years and years and years, and also generational.
Yeah.
So, of course, these are all triggers. So then really understanding that alcohol is addictive. It's an addictive
Mhm.
substance, and these neural pathways that we just mentioned, all of those are etched into your brain. So we really have to do the work of rewiring and making new neural pathways, new ways to enjoy holidays with your family, to be in Cape May, to be with your friends, to be with your family. And that's again what you were willing to do.
Right, right, right. And even just like with my husband, right? It was like,
Hmm.
how is this going to be? I mean, this is what we do,
Yes.
although it wasn't really functioning very well,
Hmm.
we,
Hmm.
we actually didn't get along very well when we drank. Like, I always wanted to be like that couple where we could just have fun drinking
Yeah.
together. And
Same with me. Same with
we
me.
very rarely had fun drinking together.
Yeah.
Like, we did when we first started dating, but
Hmm.
like, quickly, because honestly I drank too much, like, and then he also didn't, I don't think, realize how much he would always think it was me.
Yeah.
And really he would get grumpy
That's
too,
easy to
so then it
do.
was yeah, it was like, it was, so he's reined in his drinking a lot. And I think one of the biggest things when I kind of got to, I think, to the 3 month mark, like even before it might have been even before Thanksgiving. It might not have been that far in, maybe 6 weeks. When we finished the group, I said, I think I'm going to continue this.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to continue not drinking. And we were with our counselor, and Dan said, like, I'm completely fine supporting you in that. Like, I think this is really something you should continue.
So he
And I was
noticed
kind
the
of
difference too.
shocked.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked. I was like, "Well, he doesn't want drunk Carrie," but like, like, there's always that little part in your head,
Yeah,
but
we still wanna hold on to that. We're like, "Wait, really? Are you sure?"
yeah,
Yeah.
well, because I think I was still so new at thinking I could have fun without it.
Of course you are, because
Mhm,
and this is what I always say to clients, and I had to learn myself. I mean, I was drinking for 45 years. So
mhm,
why would a 6-week
mhm, yeah,
trial without alcohol be like, "Okay, now I got this," right? It
mhm,
takes a while to carve those new neural pathways, and really it's the whole first year is about experiencing all the triggers alcohol
mhm,
free, and gaining the confidence and teaching your brain and yourself that you can do this. And you've been systematically knocking out really big things like you Christmas, Thanksgiving, and most recently, you just went on a cruise.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that
I
is
mean,
one of the big ones that people are like, "I could never do that," you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the first biggest one was like the airport.
Yes.
Like the
Let's talk
airport,
about
I
the
think, I
airport.
swear the airport was probably my biggest, like,
I get
I
that.
can't be at the airport without wine. Like,
Yeah.
that was, like, my favorite thing to do, is to go to, like, well, that was, like, this one wine bar that you get
I know what
charcuterie.
you mean. In the BWI airport, exactly.
Yes! They don't even have it anymore. It's like Vino Volo or something.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would love to travel by myself, because, like, I would be like, "That's where I'm gonna go."
Yeah.
And
Vacation starts at the airport,
at
and
the
that
airport, no
involves
matter how early, right?
alcohol, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like
yeah.
another bubble in the airport.
Yeah, so I knocked that one out at the wedding
You
initially,
did.
so that was, yeah, and I had a, like, 0 proof
Yeah,
beer. I mean, like,
which
yeah,
is great. You had
yeah,
a replacement,
a
you know?
replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and at the wedding, my sister is also not drinking, so that was helpful, so she was
Yes.
like my buddy, right?
Yep.
And then she had 0 proof champagne at the wedding, so that was, I mean, that was really, really helpful. Um
And we talked a lot before these events, like making plans. Here's what we're going to do, and we'd run through that. So you had
Yeah.
already visualized it, and that's the tactic. When you visualize it and go through it, your brain thinks it's already done it. So when you actually experience it, your brain doesn't feel like it's the first time.
Right. And that's, I would say that's probably one of the biggest techniques I use.
Hmm.
Like, and I do it thinking about how I want to feel in the morning. That's the biggest thing,
It's a big
because
one.
in the moment sometimes it's like, what's the big deal, right? If
Yeah.
I just have a
What's the
glass
big
of
deal?
wine,
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
But then I think about, like, do I really want to feel it in the morning?
Right.
And like, I just literally like, we were just on a cruise, for
Yeah.
5 days, and I don't need a vacation from my vacation. Like,
Yes.
that's just, like, the biggest gift in the world. Like, and I didn't I mean, I was actually and I don't judge people, but, like, it's like you notice, like, wow.
You absolutely notice
The
when you
sloppiness,
stop.
and it's like, I don't
Yeah.
wanna feel like that. Oh
Yeah.
my god. It's, I have no judgment at all because it's
Of
more
course.
me thinking like, "I'm so grateful I don't feel that way."
It's more
Or I'm not.
gratitude. Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't know. Literally, I'm just grateful, like, I'm not gonna feel
Yeah, it's
happy.
validating when you see other people do what you were doing and you know what that feels like. You've done it for years, you know,
Mhm.
historically, you know exactly what that feels like. Now you're doing something different and you keep gaining more confidence and clarity. And you've been talking about how opportunities in your life have been opening up for you since no longer drinking.
Yeah,
Can you talk
yeah.
about that a little bit?
Yeah, I just feel like I think part of it is I'm more confident
Mhm.
in, you know, sharing because as a health coach, I became a health coach because of my own health journey, right?
Yeah.
I had really some pretty significant struggles about 8 years ago with my health and addressing my gut health and inflammation and blood sugar regulation and all of those things really changed so much in how
Mhm.
my body functioned and how I felt. But there was always this underlying brain fog and anxiety and kind of insecurity
Mm.
in myself. And I now I know that was the alcohol getting in the way.
Yeah.
Not because in my mind I was thinking like maybe in my mind I was thinking I shouldn't be drinking, but I think just the chemical imbalance caused this insecurity. So now I'm just
Anxiety.
anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just so much more confident that what I'm teaching is working, and what not just the alcohol piece, but like
Mhm.
all the other things that because I'm basically a walking, like everything I coach,
Yeah,
I
sure.
I do,
Same
right?
with me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can say that now because I don't have
Yes.
alcohol getting in the way,
And that's
you
such
know?
an important point right there because you know, even if it's just subconsciously, here you are, this gut health coach, you've been through all these struggles, you're working on all these areas of your life, and we talk about this, except for the elephant in the room. We don't want to look at
Mhm.
this one piece because I don't want you to touch my alcohol. I'm going to do
Right,
all
right.
these other things. It can't possibly be that the alcohol is still a problem because I'm so healthy in all these other ways. And I was right there with you,
Mhm.
absolutely doing that.
Mhm.
And so that was such an important aha to
Yeah.
realize that last piece that we were both holding on to and removing that. And I felt the same call that you did, that God was like, Maureen, I got a lot more for you, but you got to
Yeah.
let go of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And health-wise, I mean, I can't even begin to, I I was actually talking about this on the cruise. Like I track a lot of things on my Fitbit for,
Yeah.
sleep-wise. And a year ago exactly, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea and I had a CPAP and,
You
I was
did.
like,
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah, and it was it
Oh, that's
sucked. I mean, having a
Darth
CPAP is
Vader.
terrible, but I mean, it's necessary,
Hmm.
and everybody, like my mother has it, my sister, my brother, like it's everybody in my family has a CPAP, right?
Yeah.
And I was surprised, but I barely needed it, but I needed it. I was also struggling with some other things like mold toxicity I didn't realize. So once I actually cleared the mold toxicity, working with Dr. Kinney, we figured that out. I kind of didn't really need my CPAP anymore. However, when I drank, I would notice I was short of breath at night. And I was classified in my Fitbit as a giraffe sleeper. When you think about how the heck does a giraffe
Yeah.
sleep? Like
Standing up.
standing.
I don't
It's like
know.
it's like light. It's like this
Okay.
light, like continuous waking,
Oh, yeah.
And now about I would say about 3 probably starting in like the beginning of January, so it's at 3 months after giving up alcohol. I'm a bear. I sleep like a bear.
Oh, like a hibernating bear.
Yes.
But that's so important because with the wearable tech now really shows people, gives them tangible evidence. oh, alcohol is really messing with my sleep, even 1 or 2 drinks. Because so many people are like, oh, I drank that earlier, a couple hours earlier. It's out of my system. It is not how it works.
No, no. And, I lost my brother in 2012. He had a massive stroke,
I
and,
know.
like,
I'm so sorry.
he probably had sleep apnea. I
Hmm.
don't think he drank much, actually, but I think he had sleep apnea undiagnosed. And so we know, like, a lot of the research points to apnea really affecting cardiac function. And
Hmm.
so, like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not sleeping without this thing because I don't want to put myself at risk. I don't even need that thing anymore because, like, I took away one of the contributing issues was the alcohol, I
Yeah.
think, for
Yes.
me, for my
100%.
body in particular.
Hmm.
Maybe it wasn't, that wasn't what the issue was with my brother. I don't know, but, like, I can't help but think
You
that, like,
showed yourself,
yeah,
again, by experiencing it yourself,
yeah,
you let your body know. And so many people tell me things like they're not taking, antacids anymore, reflux
mhm,
medication, all those kind of things when they stop drinking.
yeah, yeah. I know people as well, like anxiety meds, they don't need them anymore because you're kind of like fighting, you're exacerbating that anxiety
Yeah.
with the alcohol.
Yeah.
And we
So
think it's
yeah,
helping us.
so when you take the break and you work with me or, a coach, you learn what alcohol is really doing, the chemical cascade of events that happens every time you drink because your body sees it as a toxin and it's trying to get rid of it. So all these events happen. So would you say that learning that was what helped you, especially because you're very interested in health, you
Mhm.
love learning all of
Mhm.
that, and once that made sense to you, you could make an informed choice instead of
Right.
feeling like I want to get people out of feeling deprivation and have them feeling I'm making an informed choice for me, for my health.
Right. Right. And, even one of the things that I see a lot in the population that we coach, we coach a lot of women in midlife and
Right.
a lot of thyroid issues.
Mhm.
And I will say, since letting go of alcohol, my thyroid, I've been able to drop down on my thyroid things have shifted in my thyroid, like, I wouldn't say like it's going to completely change it, but I think because some of that conversion happens in the liver, the
Yes.
the thyroid conversion, I'm not going to go into the science of it, but like that, a lot of things happen in the liver. The liver is responsible for so many vital functions in our body, and if you can remove the stress on the liver
Yeah.
from the alcohol,
And it is
your
a lot of
liver can,
stress on your liver.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you can do so. And that was one of the biggest things you taught us was like the liver will prioritize alcohol over everything.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why thyroid function is or women, like, women's hormones are tanking, and it's like it really is, alcohol really is getting in the way of our body's ability to process anything.
Yeah, your body will stop doing everything else. Like, we got to get rid of this toxin. We got to prioritize this. So everything else is on hold. So if
Mhm.
drugs that you're taking that need to be metabolized and broken down, food that needs to be absorbed for nutrition. There's so many things that have to be put on hold and to get rid of this toxic substance. And that's the biggest thing I hope to get across to people. Cause like you, once I realized that, I'm like, I'm doing all these other things over here,
Right.
but this is actually much more harmful than I thought. And, it's the Surgeon General just came out and said there is no healthy or safe recommended level of alcohol. It's a carcinogen, you
Right.
know. But let's move to what you do now. And you are a gut health coach, holistic practitioner. Can you talk about what you do and this program that you help, which I am now doing? So now I've become a client of Carrie's as well.
So I started working, basically, like I said, through my own health journey, started learning about gut health because, let's face it, I was doing all the things that I could possibly think of. I was seeing every medical professional under the sun to help me with chronic lower back spasms, chronic irritable
Wow.
bowel issues, like colitis type
Yeah.
issues. I had reflux, as you said, I had anxiety. I had so many things
Mm,
going on. My cycles were like crazy heavy. And so there was just so much plaguing me. And I did a lot and even modified my diet significantly to remove things that could be causing inflammation. And what ultimately helped was adding in some prebiotic, probiotic, and yeast, and stuff to address systemic yeast, things to help balance my blood sugars. I use specifically Plexus products. If you're interested, reach out. But
I will put that in the show notes, people.
yeah, because I can help give you access to that and guide you with those. But I also use a host of, now that I'm at the Kinney Clinic, there are so many other ways to support your body. But that was kind of like the catalyst for change. The products themselves were the catalyst to change for me. And that's when my body started to regain its ability to heal itself. And then once I got to a much better place of clarity and like functioning, really, like, then I realized I needed to change what I was doing for work, because there was so much stress in that. I was in a very political, well, not political as we would talk about today, but political in, I was a speech pathologist working in the deaf community, and there was just a ton of politics, and it was not.
And that was stressful on your nervous system.
So, and I was in this constant state of fight or flight, and I was learning that being in a constant state of fight or flight is almost more detrimental than even the food you put in your body. So that's when I decided I'm going to make a change. And I decided to go into the coaching realm and really help people find healing with the things that I had done. So, and then I got my coaching certification through the Holistic Wellness Coaching Academy. So I'm a holistic gut health practitioner, specifically addressing gut health and inflammation. And I incorporate the blood sugar balancing from I've learned, kind of separately from that, but it's all tied together. But I've taken, all of the tools that I use and have created an amazing toolbox to help people get to a much better space. And then I connected with Dr. Kinney through the holistic practitioners, wellness networks that she had put together. And I was like, if you need a coach, like I need a practitioner who can help my people, because you can only be a coach and go so far.
Right.
I couldn't do the blood work. I couldn't, I wanted to see the whole person and know exactly what I was suggesting was actually helpful.
Now, can you also see clients who aren't in this area?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We see people virtually. Yep. Yep. So we can do a whole host of blood work to look at hormones, thyroid. We look for, sometimes there are underlying infections like Lyme and Epstein-Barr and mold. Like I said, I had mycotoxins. We, do complete blood work that you could get at a regular doctor, but even more. And we address the nutrition piece and the regulating your nervous system, and because that is really, 99.9% of the population is living in fight or flight all day long.
Yeah. So let's hold on that for a minute, because that's so important. So we are all in fight or flight. And what that means is just we are in this constant state. Our nervous system is really irritated, aggravated, out of control. And that is when we reach for something like alcohol, because it's a central nervous system depressant. It no doubt it has that first effect of, down regulating your central nervous system fast. And that's why people do it. But between you and me and Dr. Kinney and others, we're helping other people learn other ways to down regulate your central nervous system that become their toolkit, and that is healthy and that is not inflammatory or a toxin. So yeah, that fight or flight or freeze is so important for people to understand, because in our society, it's just go, go, go. So learning healthy ways to downregulate your central nervous system, I think, is what we both coach to.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people don't even realize that your thoughts can create this fight or flight. It's not, a big traumatic event that happens. It's like a negative thought, like, I can't believe you just said that in a meeting or whatever, ruminating. Yeah. Traffic, driving in traffic, your kid stomps upstairs and slams the door. Ooh, fight or flight. There's so many things that on a constant, turning on social media these days, forget it.
And also not taking that, time in stillness, meditation, prayer,
Yeah.
journaling, so you can again, it really has this amazing calming effect, and if you start your day with that, you're setting your day with a different intention,
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
we can get into circadian rhythms and early morning sunlight and turning off your devices, all of
Yes.
those things matter, but if you're consistently introducing alcohol, you are fighting against all these healthy things you're trying to do because it is dysregulating. Only
Mhm.
that first drink gives you that downregulating effect. After that, it is completely dysregulating and depletes your neurotransmitters, the very things you need to feel good. But
Yeah.
what I love now is you are, and so am I, living authentically and in alignment with what you felt inside that originally nudged you to reach out to me. And you can share that with your clients now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that changed the way that you coach since you no longer drink?
Yeah. I think it totally does because I know it has because I don't think I felt capable to like or valid. I don't know. I didn't think I
It's
could.
not authentic, right? If you're
Yeah.
drinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I could tell them, I used to do with a lot more people. I would do this full 6 week gut restoration
Hmm.
protocol where we would eliminate like everything inflammatory, right? So it'd be sugar, dairy, gluten, caffeine, alcohol, and like,
Which
people would
is
do it for
great.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily do that with everybody anymore because I I don't think it's necessarily depending on what their symptoms are.
Hmm.
But the biggest thing is like alcohol's in no way good for you. And I don't think I don't think I was as convicted about that and could say. Now I can give my own
You can
experience.
speak with your own experience. That
Yeah.
makes all the difference in the world. Same with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people still are like,
Well, of
but
course, and now you know why, because it's an addictive substance and we don't want to let go of it because it's become
mhm.
our friend. It's been the way we relax, it's the way we think we can have fun. And that's why you have to show yourself by taking this break with getting educated at the same time and rewiring your brain. Makes all the
Right.
difference in the world. And
One of the
yeah.
biggest things I will say, to those of you who are listening who are like, I don't know if I could do it. Like once I figured out the what was triggering it. So, I love the halt, like hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Cause those four things
Yes.
were like the triggers for me all the time.
Mhm.
Most of it was being lonely, right?
Mhm.
And like I said, alcohol would make me kind of fulfill that prophecy kind of.
Self-fulfilling.
Self-fulfilling prophecy is like, why am I alone? I don't want to be alone, but yet I'm isolating myself upstairs folding laundry because I feel like everything I say is coming out wrong. You know what I mean? Like it was like I would view so many things negatively
And
after
also
one
you can
drink.
drink more. You can keep drinking.
Yeah, and then I could keep drinking, right.
Yeah.
But so was trying to say was that if you can get past that, like with one, so I just use like I'll use like seltzer water, or I
Mhm.
have these fun little mocktails like recess, or
Yeah.
you relax or something fun to take the place, right? Like you said, a replacement.
Mhm.
That urge goes away like within 20 minutes. Or like if I eat some protein or fill, if I'm hungry and I eat some protein, I'm like, oh, I don't really, the craving, I was surprised at how quickly the cravings
They
s-
subside.
would
Yeah, that we
subside and
learn
then
to
I would be
surf
fine.
those urges
Yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah.
wave, and then they break.
Yeah. Yeah. And now like the weekend comes and oftentimes it'll be Sunday night and I'm like, I didn't even think about alcohol this weekend. Huh. Weird.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still in that
I
phase
know,
where I'm
I
like,
keep trying to
it's
get her to
so
shift from
weird.
weird from weird to awesome.
I know. I have such a
It's
because
different.
it's different. It's just
It's
not.
different, and that's why I always go back to, but that makes sense because 'cause you've been drinking for 45 years. I use that number for me. So, of course, this while it's amazing what we've
Yeah.
been doing, it's still a much shorter time period. So, of course, you're gonna have those thoughts, and we always wanna work on
Yeah.
reframing that. See, I can't stop coaching even on this
No, I
podcast.
know, but it's true because it's like now I'm at a point where I can say like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome."
Yeah.
Whereas I think it took like it was just up until a couple weeks ago where I was still like, it's so weird for me. It just isn't of character for
It's
me to
different.
not drink,
Mhm.
which is like not really something I should be proud of. But it's like it just
Oh,
is what it, you know
you
what
should
I
be
mean?
very proud.
Yeah, well, that's how I was,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was just, I mean, I
But
started
that's okay, but
drinking
that's an
at,
important piece though, right? Because I often talk about that, the compassion piece. Of course, we drink a lot. We are in a society where it's legalized, glorified, and romanticized. So,
true.
and we were going with the flow. It was in our families. I mean, all those things. So the self-compassion piece is so important. Makes
Yeah.
sense that I was drinking like that. But now you've changed generational habits. I mean,
Yeah.
you've done something really big here.
Yeah, yeah, and that is really what continues to drive me. It's just
Mhm.
I don't want my kids, I don't want them to feel like that's how they need to, what they need to reach for to cope. I
Yeah.
don't, because both, particularly my older son, like he's got a bit of a personality that's not as social, but also he's just more anxious, and
Mhm.
I could see like him just falling into the same habits that I fell into
Sure.
once alcohol hits his lips. I mean, I started drinking young. I was like 13.
Me
Like
too.
how? I don't
14.
even,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just throwing a couple older brothers and sisters, and we're
yeah,
watching, right? Kids are like sponges. They're watching,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and everybody thinks it's a rite of passage that all kids have to go through, but I think that's starting to change too.
That
And
is, I do see that
yeah,
changing now.
yeah,
Yeah. To a degree, I mean, it's shifting to other things, which,
yeah,
doesn't
right.
necessarily mean they're not leaning on other things.
Hmm.
And I want to teach my kids that they don't need to lean on any of that.
Yeah, and you have all the tools to teach them what they can do instead. That is going to be so much more healthy and longer lasting, and they'll have their own toolkit. So I
Yeah.
just think it's so great to see all that you've conquered, all the changes you made, how it's affected your business, your home life, your personal life, and best of all, we're friends. I love that
Yes,
too.
I know. I know. It's
Yeah,
been such a gift. Yeah, I never imagined when I said yes that, I would still be where I am. And
yeah.
like, yeah, it's just been amazing. It's just opened up a whole new world to me of feeling, of really living life, like
Oh, I love
not
that.
just getting through the
Not
day.
just getting by,
Yeah.
and yeah, that is so
Yeah,
important. That
there's so much joy, so
mm,
much more joy. Like I can actually feel the joy that I was numbing for it was like I was trying to numb whatever I was dissatisfied with, but I
hmm.
was also numbing my ability to feel the joy because I think the alcohol would make me see the negative. So now that I don't have that, like I just,
Yeah, we also talk about how it changes your pleasure baseline over time. So it changes your brain chemistry because your brain's trying to establish homeostasis. And we go into that in the course, but it literally changes what you used to get joy out of is now kind of gray and dull. And it takes a lot more for you to feel joy. And you start to feel like you need alcohol at everything, every
yeah,
event.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting, like the things that used to seem like awesome, don't seem as awesome, and the things that bothered me so much don't really bother me. It's like, I don't know. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
is
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool. And that's why I love doing this is watch people have their ahas and
Yeah.
change and feel joyful. Like you
Yeah.
just definitely come across. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
definitely much, much more joyful, much more just
calm.
like just thankful and grateful. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna be 50 this year or next year. Not yet. January. And it's less than a year, but
Mhm.
I'm excited to like, I don't
Yes.
know, celebrate that in a much different way than I thought I probably would. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm so glad you came on here and shared your story because I think so many people can relate to so many points of your story along the way. And also, if you are listening and you want to have a healthier gut and learn more about your gut health, you can reach out to Carrie. I will have her information in the show notes. And
Yeah.
thanks again, Carrie, for coming on.
Thank you so much. Love being here.
Yeah, see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Have you ever Googled, "Am I an alcoholic?" Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label? and more about how drinking actually makes you feel. That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at soberfitchick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? soberfitchick.com/MI.